All right, and we do have a majority of folks on the call today, so we'll go ahead and jump into today's session. I really appreciate this group of folks being able to join us this morning. We are going to be taking a look at the pre-screening and eligibility tracks. It's from 9 to 10. I'm going to do my best to keep it within that hour, but we have a lot of new stuff that we're going to be looking at today. Um, Before we jump into getting everybody access and kind of walking through this with you all, I want to just make sure the intent of what we're doing is very clear. We're going to be looking at our pre-screening, and the biggest thing that we need you guys to be testing on is to make sure we have the eligibility tracks correct. So I'm going to show you guys the pre-screening, and I have a couple of different resources for you all to look at. But as you go through the pre-screening, we have various questions that you'll answer. Some are yes, no, some are radio button. We're essentially trying to screen at a high level if the customer would fit in one of the potential dislocated worker buckets, or if they're going to meet the eligibility for in-school or out-of-school youth. And I'm going to give you guys some instructions to go over this. And in those, we've linked this Miro board, which flows through the logic of how the system is making specific determinations. So if a customer is between the ages of 14 and 24, they're going to get the youth question and they're going to be asked, are they in school or out of school? And then based on how they answer that, the system is going to relook at their age. Are they between, if they're in school, are they between the ages of 14 and 21? If yes, it's going to look at more things. I'm going to go into this in more detail, but I want you guys to know that we're not asking you to test like the necessarily the UI or the text. Some of the text is still in development. We're really looking at, are we hitting the right eligibility criteria to potentially recommend somebody as a fit for like youth or adult or dislocated worker? And are we missing anything, or are we assuming somebody's eligible when we shouldn't be? So that's something I really want to have you guys take a close look at through this testing process. I'm going to go into the tool and show you how everything works and give you some more context and guidance. But the first thing we need to do is we need to get you all access to IWDS 2.0. We recently pushed out an update that now requires a login through our secure state Okta portal. I know not everybody here is a state user, which is perfectly fine because our locals won't be state users. So we have ways to set them up with the secure credentials. So my colleague Lynette is on the call and is going to help walk us through getting signed in to IWDS 2.0. Lynette, should I go ahead and put the link to the tool in the chat for them to navigate to get started and then pass it over to you?
Yes, that works.
Okay. I have the instructions up if you want me just to kind of share my screen as we walk through this with them.
That would be perfect. And then we can get these documents out to share. So if you're one of the folks and you already have an Illinois.gov account, you're good. You're ready to log in. So you can go to the test link and use your same username and password that you use for Okta for your internal login, and you should be set to go. For folks with the LV is we need to create an Okta account. So when you go to the link that Olivia put in the chat, you're going to come to this iLogin email or username, and you're going to come to the bottom and click on sign up.
So state folks, if you can click on that link and then just go ahead and log in with your state credentials. And once you guys are able to get logged in, let me know. If you run into issues, we're going to get this all sorted out to make sure everybody is able to get in right now so that we can have this squared away. And then, yeah, the Chicago folks, go ahead and go to that link and click sign up. And we're gonna let the state folks just get logged in, and we're gonna walk through the next steps with the non-state folks, which are mainly our LWIA 7 testers today. And I did put the instructions, Lynette, I did put them in the chat for folks. If you guys want to open the instructions, you should have access and can walk through what Lynette's going over.
So in the email, you're gonna want to put the email for your CCWP email, and then your first name, last name, country, state, city, are the only required fields. And then at the bottom, if you scroll, it will have you create a password. Needs to be 8 characters, uppercase, lowercase, number, and a symbol. And it can't have any parts of your username or your first or last name in it.
Okay, Elizabeth, we'll have you share your screen here in a minute and take a look at that. We'll give the Chicago folks a second to get their sign up filled out. While we're doing that,
Hi, Olivia.
yeah.
I just got an error that said there was an unexpected internal error. Please try again.
Lynette, should she do like a hard refresh and retry that form?
You can try that, yes.
Yeah, hit Control F5 and then try filling that form out again and let us know if you get that error another time. And Matt is also, okay, so it looks like the state folks are unable to sign in with their credentials.
Okay, I can follow up with our Okta contact.
Okay. Are any of the state folks able to get in with their credentials? That'd be Ray, Mark, Laura.
Nope,
Okay.
I've
Nope.
tried multiple passwords.
So
I
have
mean, I know
I.
what my password is today that I logged into my computer, but I thought, well, maybe it's remembering something old, but I can't find a password that seems to get me in.
Me
Okay.
either. And I asked it to send me an email so I could reset my password, and I have not received an email. So
Yeah, I use a push notification with my phone and it's not coming through.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me follow up with the Okta contact. It sounds like the state folks are not having an issue. And I will get folks in.
For the Chicago folks, has anybody been able to successfully fill out the form or are other folks getting errors too?
This is Nicole. I've been successfully able to fill out the form, but it's kind of stuck. It's at the IWDS client web, but I have no full screen. It's blank,
Okay.
Oh,
if that makes any sense.
yes. Try clicking.
The refresh button.
Try clicking on the link to the website one more time, like where it says applications.
I just re-put it in the chat.
Let me see. Okay, I'm in now.
Awesome.
Perfect. Are you seeing a list of customers?
Yeah, the first one is Marcus Bennett.
Beautiful.
Okay.
So is this an option for the state folks as well if they'd want to use like a Gmail account or something temporarily, Lynette?
Yes, but
We'll
Maybe.
work to try to get their state credentials figured out, but if not, we might be able to go that route.
yeah. And I'm emailing the Okta folks right now.
Cassie, were you able to get around that error?
I'm getting the same screen that Nicole received. It's just blank.
Go ahead and re-click that link. We just set this we just pushed this out Friday and we're working through getting some things cleaned up. You guys are kind of our first mini test group with this as well as pre-screening. So we'll have better routing in the future. Right now, that link I sent you is kind of like to get back to like the full customer list. If you get stuck anywhere, you can always click the test apps, illinoisworknet.com/IWDST/applications.
Okay. I'm in Olivia.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, Elizabeth, we'll reshare our teams. We gotta add you guys all as like members to the transition team. Kelly Trimble, if you could look at aligning that to see if they can get access to the instruction documents. We're going to send an email after this with a link to the instructions for getting access and for going through pre-screening. So you'll also have a link via email.
Okay. Hi, this is Tina. You said this is a blank screen. You want us to go back or?
Just click on the link in the chat that I put that is testapps.illinoisworknet.com/IWDST/applications. And then you should see the customer list. I'll go to what you should see.
It says, welcome to the call work location agreement. Sure.
Yeah, you will have to go through that. Let me
It's
get
a
my,
shared data agreement.
yeah, so you're down here. You'll
Okay.
check that box.
Okay.
You can start typing your AWIA number in the location box and then check your agreement box and click
Okay,
register.
I will
start.
I will fix that in the back end real quick for you.
I just hit LWIA 7, but it didn't. Nothing happened.
If you type in
Okay,
like
hold on. Let me see.
07,
Yeah, I see it. I get a list here. Let's see. Which location you want us to select?
Anyone is fine.
Oh, okay.
they're all the same right
Okay,
now in
okay.
test. Yeah.
All right, great. Yeah, submit your registration.
And Tina,
Mm-hmm.
is your email address is the email address you put in Octa with T Caldwell or just Caldwell?
T Caldwell.
Okay. I can see that you're doing what you're doing on
Okay.
that.
Okay. So it says welcome. Do I need to refresh? Let's see.
Did you click the register button?
Yeah, I say you have submitted your registration. Once you're
Perfect.
okay.
Just re-click this link here that I just put into the chat, and then you should
Okay.
end up on the customer.
Okay. See. Okay. Yep, got it.
Perfect.
Thank you.
So I have Tina, Nicole, and Kathy in. We're connecting with Okta on the state accounts. Christy, are you gonna try to get in at all?
Yes, I am, but I'm just I'm on my phone, so
Okay, no worries.
I will try in a moment.
Perfect. All right. So for the Chicago folks, you're in. You don't need to follow along live. Now you can kind of watch what we're doing and ask questions. And then after we're done here, you guys now are in. You'll use that login to gain access back to this test app. Whenever you are ready to come in and dedicate some time to testing the eligibility flows. State folks, we will get you figured out and give next steps by the end of this. Seeing if we can get Okta responses back from Do It. But so for this portion, I want to walk through and show you what you guys are going to be doing. We have instructions that we put together. Scroll up here that I'm going to provide to you all. I'll put a link in the chat. Kelly did note that she granted access at 8:45 this morning, and sometimes Teams does take a little while. So if you can't access this right now, give it like another 15, 20 minutes. If you're still having issues, we'll retry that. But you guys will have this guide for when you go out and test on your own. It's like a refresher. So it has the link that you're going to go to, and then the steps you will follow. So I'm going to pull this over to the side and walk through this on my screen so you guys can see. In order to get to the pre-screening, we're going to have you start by adding a customer. So from our link, we're on our customers tab, and we're going to click add customer. And you're going to complete a duplicate customer search first. So you're going to need to type in the first name, last name, and date of birth of a test customer that you're going to do the pre-screening for. So I'm going to do Jane Doe. And then I did put a little note. I have some notes throughout or some helpful tips throughout this document. So if you're testing youth eligibility, make sure the age you're putting in falls within the in-school and out-of-school youth requirements. So as you're adding this customer, that's something to consider there. So I'm going to put 1/1/2005 and then click search. It's going to run a duplicate customer search. As part of this latest and greatest update we cleared out our data, like all of our test data. So you're not going to find a lot of duplicates right now because we don't have a lot of customers. We just cleared that out on Friday. If you do happen to find a customer, go ahead and still move forward with adding the customer. You might get a modal that opens to say, hey, are you sure this isn't any customer we may list here, and have to verify. You'll move forward and click add customer. And then you're going to fill out the create customer profile. So essentially, we're just setting up a new customer record. So you have a clean customer to test the pre-screening as. When you put in the email address, so I have this noted on our instructions as well. When you put in the email address, if you use something like janedoe@fakemail.com, it's going to signal to the system that anytime you try to perform an action where you send an email, it's going to try to just directly auto route you right into the next step because it knows you're using a fake email. So you wouldn't have the ability to go to that email and view it. But if you use your real email, we do have some steps set up which would trigger an email to send to do a next step. And so if you use your real email, you will be getting those to engage with the tool that way. You can use either option. We're not asking you guys to like review content or UI right now. We really want you focused on making sure we have the eligibility triggers set up correctly, but you're welcome to do it either way. This will make a little more sense when we get a little further in. For right now, I'm just going to set up the fakemail.com. Then we just have a few more questions that we have to answer. And then we're going to click add customer. It's going to add the customer. It's going to look for a workNet account. Because we're setting up test data, it's typically a new account created. You'll just click continue, and then you're going to be redirected to the customer's profile. And from here, if we scroll down just a little bit, we're going to come to this intake summary section, and we're going to click start intake process. So this is where we're kicking off. We've made a customer. Now we're going to kick off the pre-screening. So when we click this, it's going to open this modal to start the application process. And to begin the application process, the customer will need to complete a pre-screening. How would you like to complete the pre-screening for this customer? You can send the customer a link to complete it on their own. So if you do it this way and you used your real email, you're going to get an email that says, hey, Jane Doe, you've been invited to start this pre-screening. Here's a link to do it. If you use fake mail, it should direct you right into the pre-screening. But then the option I recommend that you use is complete the application with the customer now. So you're going to be engaging with the system as if you were a career planner or an intake specialist sitting down with the customer to help them complete this. This will just take you directly into the pre-screening. So when I click this radio button and click confirm, I am now in the pre-screening. So for the purposes of our instructions, the step-by-step is where you'll be at after step 8. And then go ahead, Ray. Ray, did you have something you wanted to say? All right. So at the bottom of those are just some helpful tips that we had went over. And then this next page is what to expect during pre-screening. So the intention behind how we built pre-screening is that it is going to be very intuitive and it's going to be dynamic based on the data it gathers. So you will not always see the same questions or even the same pages as you go through pre-screening based on how you're answering questions. So for example, if you're too old for the youth program, you're not going to see the youth eligibility pages to try to determine youth. If you are found ineligible because you're not within a correct age or you're not authorized to work in the US, you're going to go right to a page that says, hey, sorry, you're not eligible, instead of answering any other pre-screening questions. I did want to note that we are not considering selective service requirements as part of eligibility at the pre-screening level. We're collecting information on it, but we don't want to throw anybody out because they're not selective service compliant. Because one, they might not know that they actually are because it's not something everybody is super familiar with. And two, the local area might be able to work with them to get them registered or get them a waiver, and they then become compliant. So that is one of the eligibility criteria the pre-screening is not taking into account. It's collecting information on and passing it to the career planner that they will handle during application review and eligibility certification. And then there are 2 resources that can help you understand what's happening in the pre-screening. It is the Miro board that we looked at earlier. So there's 3 sections in this Miro board. One is the pre-screening page routing. So it's showing you, like you're going to start on the intro page, then go to the getting to know you better page, then skill screening, then general eligibility. And where we see these triangles, or I'm sorry, diamonds, getting my shapes, these are system checks that are happening. So are they 14 plus and authorized to work in the US? If they're not these things, then they're not going to move forward. They're going to get the not eligible, unable to determine eligibility page. If they are, then it's going to see, are they between the ages of 14 and 25? If yes, they're going to get the youth eligibility page. If no, they're going to get the dislocated worker page. So this shows how we're routing customers to various pages. The pages are the squares, and the system checks to determine how to route correctly are our diamonds. And then I put our review pages are dynamic. So you're either going to see a review page that says, hey, you might be eligible, or a review page that says, oh, we're not able to determine. These pages are draft pages. They are not at all what the customer is going to see. They're very like blunt, like eligible, not eligible. We are redoing these with much more customer-centered language, but we have them built into the system so that we can make sure we're triggering the correct path. Additionally, we have our dislocated worker pre-screening question flow chart and our youth pre-screening question flow chart. So this shows based on how you answer these questions. So if you you'll get the question, did you lose your job even though it wasn't your fault? Or get a layoff notice. If you answer yes, you would get this question. If you answer no, you would get this question. So this is the routing of how the system knows which questions to show and which pages to trigger. This is not necessarily the correct flow of the pages. This like recommend potentially eligible. That's not necessarily always the next page you see, but when we get to the review page, this should be the recommendation it throws up. The page routing is more up here. And then for youth, this is our most complex one, as I'm sure you are all aware. There's a lot going on here, and there's a lot of system checks. We are collecting some stuff on our Getting to Know You Better page and our skills screening page that potentially translates into barriers or low income criteria. So the system is, before it's throwing up questions, it's looking back at previous pages to see have we learned something that would trigger a barrier or low income that we can pass forward to skip questions because we already know some of this. So that's what a lot of these are looking for. And it starts to talk about flags. So the way that we're doing a lot of this is we're throwing flags on various answer options. So you have access to this document as well if you need it. If you don't, it's totally fine. And we are changing some of this getting to know you stuff. We're going to change the verbiage a little bit, but the intent is going to be the same. If I'm telling you here that I have children because I have some kind of childcare situation, it's going to flag as a barrier and then flag as parenting. So that we know for youth, if you're pregnant or parenting, it counts as one of the barriers. And then there's other things like this one's flagging. If they say this, we're flagging the disability flag and also a barrier. Same with pregnant or expecting a child and they're a female, then we're assuming that, and we don't want to re-ask it in youth eligibility. So I'm going to show you this in practice. I just wanted to give you context to some resources out there. I know everybody kind of understands information a little differently. And then we also have one built into the tool that you'll see. And then I also want to note one other thing. We have some items that I have already flagged didn't seem to be working correctly or were routing incorrectly. And our developer is working on that like right now. And so we have this line right here, red. It was taking them the wrong way and it needs to be taking them the way of the green. So I have two areas and I have little sticky notes with the card number for it being resolved. When it's resolved, I'll put this all back to black and get rid of the red lines. But we did know when we're looking at dropout and compulsory attendance, we had two items routed incorrectly. So they're fixing those, and those are all highlighted within the red and green, and that should be fixed here in the next day or two. But I wanted to flag that so you guys know we are already aware of it, and we'll clean this up as soon as it's fixed so it's showing how it is currently routing. Any questions? I know we're going over a lot. Any questions before I jump into this pre-screening and kind of show you around here? All right. So we have our welcome page. It's just welcoming Jane Doe, giving some context about what to expect. We still have some work to do here. We have some things we need to link and everything. And then we get started with the getting to know you better page. So we're redoing some of this stuff. So that's why some of the UI we don't want you to worry too much about. We're going to be adding some icons here, making this look a little cleaner, but it's asking about goals. And then it's asking if you have any specific career goals in mind. If you pick some of these first options, it's going to create a sub question and have you pick occupations you're interested in because you're telling us like you have specific occupations in mind. Some of these latter options are not going to trigger a sub question. These first two questions don't have anything to do with any kind of eligibility. It's just getting to know the customer better. But then as we get down here, do any of these apply to you? Select all apply. We have some different sections. Now, some of these do have direct implications to youth eligibility. So transportation, not so much, but here we have childcare. So I'm going to pick something with childcare. And then we also have things like we have our disability one, we have pregnant, we had a incarcerated one. So we have some of these here that if you are picking them, we're going to correlate that for the customer to a potential barrier if we're looking at youth eligibility. So some of these in here do have barrier flags, and all of those are laid out in this flag document if you have questions on how that might be related. Then we move to the next page, and we're doing our skill screening tool. So we're making updates to how we're going to be engaging with the skill screening tool in 2.0. So we have our various skill screening questions, and they can say, I can't do this yet, I need help, I'm not sure, or I can do this on my own. If they pick that I can't do this yet or I need help, it is going to flag that they are basic skills deficient under this item. If they pick I'm not sure, it is going to trigger for a conversation with the career planner at time of application review and certification. So it is not a full trigger to say they are basic skills deficient under this. A career planner will have more conversation at eligibility certification and make that determination then. But for the purposes of pre-screening, it is not assuming basic skills deficient by answering I'm not sure. So there are a handful of our skill screening questions. And then we get into our, our general eligibility. Again, you don't need to worry about this text. We are going to work on redoing some of this. Now that we kind of see the flow, we can provide better intro text into some of these pages. We have general eligibility requirements. So it's pulling in my date of birth and my sex from when I created the customer profile, confirming that's correct. And then, are you a US citizen? So if I say yes, I'm done here. If I say no, it's going to ask, can you legally work in the US? So this is where some of those dynamic question sets are coming into place. It's taking what it knows and determining what it should ask you next. If I was a male, then it would also ask you meet selective service requirements. And if I say yes, I can optionally enter in my selective service number, and it gives the link if we want to look it up. But if I'm a female, not going to see that question. Also, age comes into play around if you would see the selective service question as well. If I were to not meet criteria here and say, no, I'm not a US citizen and no, I'm not authorized to work, it's not going to even take me to these two pages. It's going to jump me straight to the review page and say, hey, sorry, it doesn't look like you're eligible. Here are some next steps you can take. But we're going to go ahead and say, yes, I am meeting the general eligibility requirements. Again, we're going to look at redoing this. So we want to scroll down to this youth program eligibility page. Now, one of the things we have added in here for testing purposes is this yellow box. Things in yellow boxes that you see, we plan on stripping out for production, but this is giving us context to what is happening so we can test accurately. So this might be helpful for you all. And then we are actually looking at potentially on the career planner view. So we wouldn't necessarily show this to a customer. It's not going to mean a whole lot to them. But on a career planner view, we might do something similar. But right now it's written pretty technical. We would want to write it in a way and display things in a way that would make sense to the career planner. So are you currently enrolled in school? It's trying to determine in school, out of school youth. If I say yes, then it's going to look to see if I meet low income. So right now it's telling me down here, this again, a yellow box, not going to be seen on production. This is telling me how it's mapping back to my flow. Again, we're doing very intensive testing. We have quality assurance testers in here looking at this. So this is giving them context, like this is going back to this question so we can see where we're at in the flow of things. But this would not show in production to an end user. This is not going to make sense to them. But then down here, the decision logic steps, they're currently 20, they're enrolled in school, is aged between 14 and 21. Yes. Is low income selected from earlier meaning a previous page? No, I literally just selected that from here. Is something from 3 in school situation selected? Yes. So now I'm low income here. And is barrier situation selected from earlier section? Yes. So I selected that I had children on the getting to know you page. So instead of here asking me if I meet a barrier, it's assuming that from the getting started page that I am meeting a barrier based on what I had answered earlier. And like auto pulling that in. So I'm not having to answer more questions. This was something we really wanted to make sure we were doing correctly. And then when I go to the next page, it is telling me I'm eligible for the right adult and youth. Now I want to jump back a little bit. So we don't have navigation quite working here. We're also getting it set up so you can navigate through these, but right now it's not working. If I were to take this off, say I don't want to check anything that would lead to a barrier here. So I'm taking that out. I'm gonna make these all that I can do them. So when I'm back here on my in-school youth, yes, I'm in school. Yes, I'm low income. It's going to say, before we move forward, we want to double check a few things. We want to acknowledge that we have asked some of this stuff before, like the childcare and incarcerated and some of these basic skills deficiency questions. We want to acknowledge that we have asked those, but we just want to double check, and we ask these questions to better understand your needs and strengths. Some may feel personal, but your answers help us find the right support for you. There's no wrong answers, and sharing won't hurt your chances. It helps us help you. So we did take a little bit of this kind of language from some initiatives Chicago did on trying to make sure individuals know that what they're telling, like, we don't want them to feel like they shouldn't tell us things because it might hinder their chances of getting service. Like knowing the full picture helps us help you. So that's kind of what we're doing here. We're acknowledging we've kind of asked some of this stuff before, and we want them to feel comfortable telling us, even though it might be personal, because it can help us provide services to them. So then it's asking some of these things again here. And so, you know, the foster care, permanent place to live, or I'm sorry, I'm in foster care, permanent place to live. And if I was the right age group, it would have the runaway, but I'm too old. I'm 20, so I'm not seeing the runaway question. But if you were testing this as 17 or younger, you would see the question about a runaway. It's written much more customer centered than that. But it's giving us an option here to see if they meet a barrier. And if they do meet that, then they should be eligible. So now I meet that. I didn't meet it from a previous situation, but I am now. And then I would still get the potentially eligible page. If I didn't, if I don't meet any of these, we have the final question, you know, is there anything else that could make it hard for you to reach your education or job goal? This kind of falls into that local policy item. If I say no, then for a youth, because I'm within the correct age, it's going to take me over to dislocated worker. When I meet youth eligibility, I'm not going to then go into answer dislocated worker. I'm going to be able to move forward as an adult youth option. If I don't meet youth, then it's going to say, okay, well, now let's try to see if you would meet the criteria for dislocated worker. And that's only for people within the youth age range. If I'm too old for youth, then it would go straight from general eligibility into dislocated worker. So this one is not nearly as complex. It's a lot of yes, no, or it's all yes, no questions trying to determine our various tracks for dislocated worker of substantial layoff, displaced homemaker, all that stuff. So as we start answering questions here, oh, that doesn't seem right. Hold on, let me refresh this page. Did you lose your job even though it wasn't your fault or get a layoff notice? Yes. Did the place you worked close or have to let people go? All right, I have a little bug here. Let me connect with the developer and see what's going on. This should be triggering the rest of these questions here. So I said no, so it should start looking for UI. And then this is our substantial layoff, and I believe is it individual or group layoff? And then if they don't meet those, then it's going into self-employed, but no longer self-employed. Then it's going into displaced homemaker, and then it's going into this is separating from the military, which falls into a previous bucket, but we broke it out because people felt like it was getting overlooked. And then it goes into spouse of active duty service member. Again, we're just collecting, like we're just trying to determine at a high level if they meet the potential eligibility for these. And then in application, we'll collect all the additional information we need to verify that, like dislocation job and all of that kind of stuff. So I will check with our developer, and when we send out an email, I'll let you know if this is fixed or an estimated time for us to get it fixed. I believe it'll be a pretty quick fix for this though. And then oh, I might have triggered. Let me try one more thing. Let me delete this. Nope, I made it too far. I triggered it too far and then it locked it on me. Let me try. Made it too far there too. Let me try one more thing. Mm. Oh, I triggered on youth. I didn't want to trigger on youth. I wanted to say no. Okay, yeah, there we have something going on there. Okay, I will check with them and we'll get that resolved. Do you guys have any questions?
I do, Olivia. It's Nicole.
Yeah.
Is there a deadline on this for us to have this done for you?
If you guys can get this done by next Wednesday, so that is going to be the 15th, that would be fantastic. We'll start off a new sprint on the 17th. So I will be able to get any issues you guys find, put in cards and into the next sprint. Kelly T, I want to create a notebook and we'll send that out for you all to put your feedback into. Kelly, do you have a link to like one of the UAT notebooks that I can demo to them right now, and then I'll set up a new one?
Yes, let me find it.
I'm wondering if I have it open. No, I don't. So we'll put a link in the email we send out to a OneNote notebook. Some of you are probably very familiar with this. It is how we currently gather feedback for UAT. This is not a full-blown UAT. This is more specific eligibility criteria testing. But we're going to use the same process where you guys can add your comments into the notebook with your name and the date you put them in there. And I can like collect all that in one spot and update it to let you guys know when we've like created cards, or if we have questions, I'll be able to contact you directly because I'll know like, oh, Nicole added this yesterday. And I, might have some questions on how you got to a specific thing or how it should be working. And in the notebook, you guys can put in screenshots of things you're seeing, and then also just like type in the explanation of what's going on.
Olivia,
So
I just put the referral one in the.
perfect.
Okay.
So I'll send you guys a whole fresh one. But you guys can check in whenever you go into test. You can put your name and the date that you were in. You might go in multiple times. Every time you go in, just put a new date in there. And then we haven't started release 3. So as you go in, you might see things in here, and you can put in like, here's the issue, and then here, Joel found this. So you can put all your comments in here. Kelly Lapatino found all this stuff. It just helps us kind of have it in one place. And then it also gives you guys the opportunity to see like, oh, Elizabeth already commented on this issue that I was going to add. You don't even have to re-put it. You could just put like, I see this also, Nicole. So then you don't have to retype everything out, but can just note it's also something you found. So kind of gives you guys like a bigger picture of everything going on, so you don't have to like re-enter things other people have already identified. So we'll send a link to a fresh one out. It'll just be a one page for all the pre-screen stuff that you guys can add to as you do your testing. Yeah, you won't be able to access this link. I'm going to create a brand new one for you guys. This is for our referral work group. So I'll create one for this group to use. And we'll send, Kelly T is going to send out an email with links to the instructions, which also at the top includes the link to the testing site. I know we put it in the chat, but in case you lose it, you can access that. And then we'll also send out the link to the getting access. If you run into any issues with getting access, you could connect with Kelly T, Lynette, and myself, and we'll get you with the right person and work to make sure you get in. Any other questions on what we've looked at today?
Olivia, this is Cassie. Just to be clear, we're just doing the pre-screening part, right? We're not going to start an application.
Yeah, just the pre-screening part. If you do try to do the application, we don't have it built out yet, so you won't get very far.
Oh,
I think
okay.
you might get to an intro page, and that will be about it.
Okay.
I do want to note, we have you guys in test. We typically have folks test in UAT environment because it is, we don't have stuff being pushed out all the time in UAT, but I really wanted to do this in test because we are still pushing out a couple of updates like those red lines that I showed in test, and we won't be doing a UAT push for a while. So if at any point during your guys' testing, your like page like locks up or you get a weird error, you can hit Control F5 and it will do a hard refresh. If our developers are like in the middle of pushing out a new like update to the system and it's large enough, sometimes it can cause some issues. So you might just have to wait 5 or 10 minutes. Like if Control F5 doesn't fix it, wait 5 or 10 minutes and then try again, and everything should be working correctly. That is not a common thing that we would expect our users to run into,
Okay.
because we are not constantly pushing like in production in UAT, but we are in test. We're getting all of our stuff out so we can test it. But I think having you guys in test is going to give you the latest and greatest of what's going on. As we get new features in there, like we'll get the navigation working a little better here in a couple days, and we'll correct the issues with the high school dropout and compulsory attendance flows.
Thank you.
Awesome. And I also want to mention, at any point during this, if you guys get stuck and you're not able to move forward and you feel just like very frustrated and overwhelmed, please know that we are here to support you in any way possible. And you can email or call us and we can get you taken care of right away. Let me put Kelly's phone number in here real quick. I just want you guys to know, like, we're here to support you so you guys can get through this and feel comfortable and confident that you guys have all of the tools and knowledge and resources to like effectively participate in this and provide us feedback on making sure we're hitting all the right eligibility tracks for recommendations to move forward in an application. Any other questions?
So Kelly put in a link for SharePoint, but it's saying access denied.
Yeah, that one is for our referral group.
Okay.
I just wanted to give you guys a quick example. I'm going to create a new one for pre-screen testing,
Thank you.
and you'll have access to that one in the email Kelly sends out.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? Lynette, did we get any feedback on state access?
Not yet. I'm talking to him about something else, so I may drop here for a call real quick with him if he's available.
Okay.
Yeah, I tried to set one up with just my personal Gmail and it still wouldn't go through. I got some thing saying the administrator needs to approve it or something. I don't know what
Oh.
that's all about.
You were in IWDS and 2.0 and you said that and you got through where you hit register.
I don't know if I made it to 2.0. I was in the Octave thing or whatever, and it sent me a push notification. I sent that, and it said waiting for system administration now.
Okay.
Do you want me to look at a specific page to grant that, Lynette?
I can do that on the back end. Let me see how far I
Okay.
got. Mark,
Yeah.
I'll work with you.
We'll provide guidance to the state folks. I want to give Lynette a little bit to see if we can get this figured out with Okta and just get you in. We'll provide guidance here when we send out this email shortly on if we think we're able to get that resolved so you can log in with your state credentials. And then if not, we can go the same route as LBS 7. Lynette was in granting access as they were doing that, Mark. So that's why they streamlined through, as we knew they were doing that. So she was pushing it. So she has to go in and like approve the same thing for you. And then your Gmail one should work. If we need to go that route with the state and have everybody go with some alternative email, we can do that. Mark, you will probably be able to get in with that Gmail one. But for everybody else, we'll see that we really being able to test this with you guys as the state users to make sure the state can get in is another like little win for us, because we're going to have to do this for everybody before the 19th for that in-person meeting. So that's kind of one of the reasons we're not just going directly to Gmail for all the state users. So. All right. Well, we will be getting an email sent out here in the next few hours with the instructions and the UAT notebook for you to put your feedback in and guidance for how the state will be moving forward. And you know, for the state folks too, I know you guys all know this, is like we're here if you guys run into anything, especially as you're getting your access, we can jump on a call and like get you streamlined through that and in, no problem. And then Chicago folks, when you get our email, you should have everything you need to jump into that and start your testing. And as you're doing it, definitely please contact us if you run into anything. It's always sad to hear, like at the end of the session, like, oh, I stopped after a couple minutes because I got stuck. We understand that happens, but we would really appreciate if you would call us or email us if that happens, so that we can help overcome that hurdle so you're able to get through the entire testing and make sure you're taking a look at all those eligibility tracks. I'm gonna
Thank
open
you,
it up.
Olivia. Yeah, I just want to say
Yeah.
thank you. And Olivia and her team are very responsive. So if you get stuck, they will help you and they will contact you right away. So we appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. Be careful what you ask for, Olivia.
I know, that's why I'm putting myself, Kelly, and Lynette all on the hook for helping so we can spread the love.
Yes, I mean all of you, not just Olivia, all three of you guys, because yes, I know we're all busy. So thank you.
Yeah. Any final questions or comments? If not, I'm going to give you guys a whole 2 minutes back.
Nope, that's it for me.
Yep, thank you.
All right. Thanks,
Bye.
all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.